everyone and welcome back to the Nulyweds channel. So today we are talking about guest transportation. I got a lovely comment from Biohazardia and I'm just going to read it out, and this is what we'll be answering today. One topic that is less glamorous but I'd love to hear about while planning my own destination wedding: how do you arrange transportation for your guests? For example, flights to the location, let guests book themselves or hire a travel agent. Is your wedding planner supposed to handle that, or do you handle booking that stuff yourself? Travel from airport to the venue area. The wedding isn't in the city the airport is in. How do you arrange a group bus/taxi or convince your guests to rent a car in a new country? Great question. What about transportation from the hotel to venue and back for drunk guests, or special transportation for the bride and groom? All these topics could be super interesting and informative. I completely agree with you. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm pleased to be bringing you this series of videos. So there are quite a few questions in here, and I don't want to answer it all in one video because it's going to be like, you know, an hour long. So I thought I'd split them into a few videos. In this video, we're going to be talking about flights and traveling within the country when guests get here. Next week, we're going to be talking about transportation to the wedding venue, how to transport wedding guests from their hotels or wherever they're staying to your wedding venue and back. The third video, we're going to be talking about couple transport, so transportation for you as the couple, the different options that you have available to you, and how to find the best options for transporting yourselves. So yes, this is a less glamorous topic, but it is really important when you're planning a destination wedding. So if you want to watch all of those videos, be sure that you are subscribed and click that notification bell so you're notified as soon as I drop a new episode. So let's dive into flights. Do you need to arrange flights for your guests? No, you don't. Generally speaking, it is not expected of you that you arrange flights for your guests. Don't feel like you are obligated to arrange flights for your guests. If you have the funds to do so, then absolutely consider it as an option. But generally, it is not expected of you, and I will tell you why. The reason is that most guests will make a bit of a holiday of your wedding. It's very, very rare, particularly for long haul flights. So say if you are based in the States and you are coming over to Europe to get married, and that is a long flight, that is a lot of travel. It's very, very, very rare that guests will just come for 2 days, so your wedding, and leave the next day. That's so super rare. It's more likely that they will take some meaningful time out. So they'll take a week out or sometimes 2 weeks out, and they'll explore the country, they'll explore the city, maybe they'll explore other countries nearby. So it's very, very common for guests that are attending my couple's weddings to also visit Spain and France and Malta and Italy, because we're all in the same kind of vicinity. And so because of that reason, it's really complicated to arrange flights for guests, because you don't really know what they want to do with their holiday. And oftentimes they don't know what they want to do with their holiday until nearer the time as well. So when you're arranging all of these flights, you may find that people change their mind. And
oh, actually, I did manage to get some extra days off at work, so I'm going to go to Paris first and then I'll hop over to Portugal, so don't worry about my flight anymore.
But you've already paid for that flight. So it becomes more complex, it becomes more difficult, particularly with destination wedding. Now, that's not to say that you can't arrange flights for your guests. If you do want to arrange flights for your guests, or say that you have a big family or just your small family, and you feel like it's going to be better if you just arrange the flights together for them specifically, because they're not very travel literate, or you just worry about them getting there and sorting it out themselves, or you want to have a better special rate with flights. Completely understandable. The best way to do this is to get in contact with a travel agent or the airlines themselves. Airlines do group bookings. Bear in mind you are liable for those bookings, so if someone drops out, you still have to pay for that group booking. So do bear that in mind. But if you contact the airlines directly or a travel agent, they'll be able to best help you sort out a package for your flights. A top tip here that a travel agent once told me is that you want to book flights 7 months out. Before that or after that, the prices actually start to go up. So the best prices that they will release are going to be 7 months before when you intend to fly out. So that's just a top tip from the travel world. In terms of whether wedding planners help you with this, it's really rare that wedding planners will help you with this, because you need certain licensing to be able to do that on behalf of someone. So to be able to book travel on behalf of someone, you need certain licensing, and it's relatively rare for a destination wedding planner to have that licensing, but they might, so you can always ask, or they might refer you to a travel agent that they trust, or at least find a contact for you at the airline. So that's the stuff to do with flights. Now I want to talk about arranging travel within the country. So do you arrange flight transfers for your guests? Say they've arranged their own flights, do you arrange for transfers for them to be taken into the city or to be taken into their hotel, for example? Again, it is not expected of you. You can do that. If you have the funds to do so, then you can absolutely do that. You could do that by hiring minibuses to collect a certain number of guests after one of their flights comes in. You could arrange a taxi transfer service, so hire a taxi service to do the rounds for you and create a tab, and then you pay for that tab afterwards. So there are ways of arranging flight transfers for your guests if you want to. What's more common that I see with my couples of all different budgets, from the high end to the low end, is to actually give guests the information to be a bit more autonomous. So what we do is we create a wedding website, and on that wedding website I personally write a lot of copy regarding how to get around the city when you arrive in the city. So for example, let's take Lisbon Airport. Lisbon Airport is really, really easy to navigate away from. It has all of the public transport links, so you can get the subway, the metro in our case, the metro from Lisbon Airport. You've got the Aerobus that takes you from the airport into central Lisbon, and it's about €4 or so. You've got the train station, like actual above ground train station. You've got a ton of taxis which are inexpensive and easy to find, and you've got Uber, and we've got our own version of Uber as well, called Bolt. So you have all of these different services and all of these different ways to get from the airport to the city, to wherever you need to go. And what we find is that most people will probably use Uber. They'll arrive with their airport, they'll use Uber because they're used to using it and they know how to use it. And then that taxi will just take them directly to their Airbnb or their hotel. It just saves a lot of headache for you as the couple, and it saves a lot of headache for the guests as well. Now, I will put one caveat. You should absolutely arrange a transfer from the airport to the hotel if you are all staying at the same hotel. So say if you have hired out a wedding venue and they also can accommodate all of your guests. So all of your guests are staying at that venue / hotel. You're all staying together. In that case, I do think it's good practice, and I do think it's worth getting a transfer from the airport to that hotel/venue. You can do this with a minibus or a large bus, depending on how many guests you have and what times people are flying in. If you can arrange for most people to fly in around the same time, then this will make the whole transfer process a lot smoother. So I do think it is good practice there. But if your guests are flying in at different times and staying in different places all over the city, maybe some of them will hire a car, all that kind of thing. If there are a ton of variables, then don't worry about transfers. Don't worry about transfers from the airport. Just give them the information to arrange their own way to their accommodation. You also find that a lot of Airbnbs and hotels are willing to help your guests to get transfers from the airport if they're really at sea. So please don't worry too much about people. If you want to arrange transfers for everyone to go to their individual hotels, then do so, but you really don't need to. I would say that if you are all going to the same hotel, like I said, if you're all absolutely going to be staying at this one place, then arrange a transfer to there. Absolutely, that makes sense. But to lots of different places around the city, let people sort themselves out. I hope this was helpful in deciding whether you need to book and arrange flights for your guests and flight transfers for your guests. Next week we'll be talking about how to arrange guest transport to the venue and away from the venue after the night, so stay tuned for that. But for now, if you have any questions, then please do leave them in the comments below, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.